What's up, everybody? That's right, we're back in this room, and you know what that means. It means it's time for another video where I just talk to the camera. That's right, it's story time. This is my first entry to my story time series, and again, I don't know why I'm wearing headphones because this will require no audio. Today, the subject of the story is speech and debate. I've had a lot of people who have asked me what my favorite thing I did during last school year was, and while I love track and I love debate, I gotta say that debate comes out on top on that one. Swimming isn't even on the list because swimming sucks, and that will be reserved for another episode. Anyways, so I joined the debate season a little bit late last year, okay? I think I went to 4 tournaments out of like the 14 that they went to. I joined after swim season was over, and it was because I needed something to do, because I can't just go home. Otherwise, I'll go home and I'll be bored, and then I'll just end up being like, pfft. Anyways, my favorite part of debate was definitely the actual tournaments. The tournaments were great because I love the fact that we got to like dress up in suits and everything when we went to school. I looked sharp every single time. If you don't believe me, go look at my Instagram that will be in the outro of this video and look at the profile picture. I was sharper than a frickin' newly sharpened switchblade. That's how sharp I was. And I wasn't too bad at what I did either. For the experience that I was able to get, I was pretty good at HI, which is humorous interpretation for those of you who don't know. It's basically we took a script and we acted it out on our own, playing every single character, doing every voice, and differentiating the characters. We had to memorize the lines, and it had to be under 10 minutes. And I remember at the beginning of my season, I had a tough time hitting the 10-minute mark, just hitting the 8-minute mark. I remember I was consistently hitting like 6:30s, which is absolutely rushing through the piece. It was like 10 or 11 pages. But yeah, no, my mentor, Ethan Simon, did not like that very much. He thought that it was absolutely abysmal, which it was. Okay, so I took the first tournament. I didn't break the semifinals at all. However, I was in a little duet improv acting thing, and we made it to semifinals. I took that as a learning experience, and I ran with it. After that, I put in double the amount of time that I was putting in before to learning my HI piece and to making it better, instead of working just on the Thursdays that we had practice after school. Every homeroom, me and Ethan were meeting up, and we were making everything better, because that's what you do. If you don't succeed at first, you go back, work on it, and then you come back with another edition, kind of like the iPhone did. You think the first iPhone was as good as the iPhone X? Think again, the first iPhone was absolutely... It was great for its time, which is what my HI was. My HI at my first tournament was great for the time it was presented. Now, if I had taken it like that through the rest of the season that I had, it would not have been so great. Admittedly, the only reason I did so well in my season was because I had my sights set very high. I had my sights set on going to the national qualifying tournament that year, which wasn't realistic at all. Ethan let me believe it for a little while that it could happen, just to keep me motivated, I feel like. But I had 4 tournaments. I wasn't going to do what I wanted to do. Now next year, however, I'm going to nationals. That's not a question. If I don't make it to nationals, I don't know how I'm going to feel. I have a very set thing going here. Next year, nationals. Year after that, I place at nationals. And then senior year, this is my ultimate goal, is I'm aiming to be the first Park Hill High School student to be a national champion in humorous interpretation, which would honestly be the greatest moment of my life because of how much I love debate and because of how much I love the acting portion of everything. It would just be awesome to become the first Park Hill national champion for it. Then along the way, there will be a bunch of other milestones. You know, I'll win my first tournament. I actually went the entire part of the season that I was in without even breaking the finals. Which at some tournaments I felt robbed, but like looking back on it, I can see that I was close, but I just didn't make the cut. Like the last 2 tournaments, no, the 2 middle tournaments, I was very close. I was very close to breaking, I feel like. Breaking to finals anyways. There was never a tournament where I didn't at least get to semifinals in some event. I remember the first one when I broke to semifinals. I remember that feeling. It was the greatest feeling in the world. Oh my god, it was awesome. Like, I walked out and I saw the giant poster that they put all of the codes for those who broke on, and I was looking down and I wasn't expecting to break. I was expecting to be let down again, but in the back of my mind I was hoping. I was looking down and I saw my code and I was like, really? And I actually almost cried. It was such a great feeling and I loved it. It was, oh my god, if I could have relived that moment, if I could bottle up those feelings, I would be happy for the rest of my life. The next tournament felt almost as good. Like, I was there, I broke to semifinals, and I was like, yeah, that's how it's done. I'm building a consistent record here. Went into the semifinals room, thought I absolutely killed it. Apparently not. That was actually a rough tournament for me because, like, I had hit a brick wall with my HI. I didn't know how to make it better, and I was having difficulty building up on it. And I didn't want that to be the case. I wanted to be consistently building on top of it with new layers of greatness so that I could eventually break to finals. And I was just frustrated going into that tournament because I was like, I know it's good, but it's not good enough. And that was just further proven when I broke to semifinals, but then failed to make it to finals. I remember I was sitting in a hallway and, like, I texted Ethan, I'm like, I can't do this. This is too much frustration for me. I can't handle feeling like it's good but not good enough. I can't handle the feeling of being close but not being close enough to make it. And I understand that there can only be 7 people who break into HI finals. I don't know, it was awful for me to hit that point and be like, wow, it was at that moment that I realized I wasn't going to make it as far as I thought I would have made it. And my problem mostly was that I go into things expecting to be one of the best right away. Debate was one of those things where, like, I was actually almost kind of right. I don't know if Ethan would agree or not, but I felt like I had a little bit of an aptitude for HI, knowing my history in comedy, but at the same time, like, I just wasn't as great as I thought I was. While it was good, I didn't live up to my own expectations, my own standards that I set for myself, because I set the bar too damn high. And yeah, it kind of sucked. I thought my season was over at that point because, like, I was beat out by my fellow friend in HI, and the next tournament after that was an out-of-town tournament. It was in Marquette, at Marquette High School around St. Louis. And I didn't break into finals, and I was like, well, my season's over. Time to throw in the towel for this season and just start focusing on next season. And that's what I did. I was like, it's over. Why should I keep working on that piece? I was in a state of disappointment in myself. And for those of you who have felt that, you know that it's not a pleasant feeling to be like, why didn't you do better? It's an awful feeling to know that you failed your own standards. Anyways, I've just figured it was done. I figured my season was done, and I figured that I should just start focusing on the next one. Now, if you've watched my YouTube channel or watched through any length of my videos, you know that my season was not done. I went to St. Louis. I remember I was sitting in homeroom. I was like, I'm not going to go down and work on my HI stuff because there's no point. And I remember my phone buzzing. At the time I had a flip phone. It went zzz, zzz, and I was like... And Ethan said, hey, do you want a spot to go to St. Louis? Or something along those lines. He's like, hey, do you want to go to St. Louis with the debate team? And I was like, really? Because, like, at that point I knew that I was going to St. Louis because they needed a couple of radio broadcasting people, and I volunteered, and I was like, hey, I can do radio broadcasting, I'm somewhat good. And what radio broadcasting is basically, you're sitting like this, okay? You're sitting facing the opposite direction, and you're reading a screen in your best news announcer voice. Okay, so what I did was I'm just going to act like you guys are the screen because that's got to be terrible to hear, that echo. What you do is you look at the wall and you start talking. Hello, my name is Julius Briscoe for WXYZ News, and the time is currently 9:44 and the temperature is 81 degrees outside. The forecast for this week is 81 degrees on Monday, 32 on Tuesday, etc., with a dew point of 84%. And basically, like, you put together an entire newscast like you would hear on the radio. It's a little 5-minute segment. Can't go over 5 minutes, can't be under 5 minutes. It's one of the few events where you have to be exact. Your timing has to be perfect. So your flow has to be great, and there's basically no screwing up. Anyways, yeah, so I knew I was going for that. But I wanted to go in an event that I actually cared about. Like, I cared a little bit about radio, but radio is kind of a laughing stock in debate. It's a dying event, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's not around by the time I'm in senior year. That being said, I was like, there's no point in HI. Ethan texts me, he says, hey, we have a spot for you on the Marquette trip for HI. And I was like, really? Which means that, like, for Marquette, for me to go, before I would have had to be like the top 4, which would have, of course, been the 3 varsity members and whoever was top novice for HI, which at the end of the season was Shania. So Shania was for sure going because she was honestly just absolutely fabulous at HI. Like, I was intimidated by her skill at HI, and her ability to make people laugh is amazing. Okay, like, I wish I was that funny. And for those of you who have watched my comedy videos, you guys are like, you are funny. I'm not as funny as Shania. Shania knows what the hell she's doing. Anyways, fast forward a few months, etc., whenever it was. I think it was a few weeks, actually. What happened was we had to pack for like 3 days. Okay, which basically meant I had one suit jacket. I only have one suit jacket. And I also had to make one dress shirt work for 2 days of tournament, wearing it non-stop throughout the whole day, which usually isn't a problem, except for the fact that, like, then I was putting my 100% effort into it. So after the first day, I had been sweating up a storm, and that shirt stunk to high hell. It was awful. The fix that I put to it, don't ever do this at home, kids, was I put cologne in the pits of the dress shirt so that it wouldn't be as offensive. Oh my god, I put that dress shirt on and it actually burned. Okay, it burnt. Cologne does not go on your underarms, guys. Remember that. Learn from my mistakes. But yeah, it was great. I actually vlogged most of the tournament, so if you want to go check those out, by all means, just like go through, look up the St. Louis vlogs from my channel. I have day 1, day 2, and day 3. It was probably one of the best experiences of my life was to go out of town with the debate team, with my extended family. No matter how much some of them may annoy me sometimes, no matter how much some of them may hate me, I've found that they're the one group of friends that I for sure am certain in. And without them, I don't know how far I would have come this last year. They absolutely progressed me forward. No matter how much any of them may hate me, no matter how much they may disagree with me, no matter how much I might dislike them sometimes, it always comes down to them being my best friends. And I don't know where I would be without them, especially a few specific people, such as Ethan Simon, who actually pulled me out of the dark thoughts I was having about HI, and just in general helped me out with some personal issues. So yeah, that's my story of debate. Marquette ended. I didn't break the finals. You guys know the story with that if you watch the vlogs, or if you haven't watched the vlogs yet, go watch those because they're great. That does it for this video. This was my first story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you hit that like button. If you didn't enjoy it, hit that like button 3 times for a super dislike. If you know someone in debate, share this video with them, okay? make sure that they watch this and understand that other people do debate as well. If you are subscribed, or if you just subscribed because you heard me say it, make sure you hit that notification bell. And yeah, as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.